Finally. Sorry, everybody, that it took so long. For some reason, it was not starting. It was just continuously loading. So, refreshed, here we are. We are going live. Today's live at lunchtime is fostering pets in need. This training could not have come at a better time. Have you seen sorry about that. As you guys have seen, um, you know, throughout this past week, whether you've been in the shelter or if you've just been following online, we are over capacity. Just on Saturday alone, we had 60 animals come in. We have so many pets right now, so many dogs. The hallways are lined. We are in really bad shape. They're just kind of put everywhere we possibly can put them. We do have our September Meet Your Match event this Saturday. That is from 10 to 4. Volunteers, you guys know, you can come in as early as 8 a.m. and start helping us get ready for the day. I did add an additional slot for the Meet Your Match, and that is to come in at 8 a.m. and help set up some kennels out front. And we're going to put all the puppies that are located on Stray Side that are adoption ready up there. And that way we can get them seen, we can get them out of there, free up some kennels. We need to get as many animals adopted this Saturday as we possibly can, especially with us being closed on Friday this week. That equals no animals leaving. So it's pretty stressful right now. The staff is very overwhelmed, morale is pretty low. So even if fostering pets isn't something that you are maybe interested in doing, that is perfectly okay. This is always good information to share with people you might know, and maybe they have an interest in fostering. Even if, if we can't get them adopted in a quick time span, we can always place them in foster. It buys us a little bit more time while keeping extra space available within the shelter for the pets that are always going to be coming in. So we will go ahead and get started. For today's training, we are going to be talking about frequently asked questions that we hear regarding fostering, different types of fostering that's available, time frames regarding each type of fostering, types of support that fosters will receive, benefits of fostering, what you receive as volunteer hour credit for fostering, and of course, how to become a foster with our facility. So, jumping right in, the most common questions that we receive in regards to fostering a pet is, what do foster care providers need? So you will want to have internet with email access. That is going to be our primary form of communication to fosters. We are going to be sending you information whenever the pet needs to come in for updated vaccines, any kind of prevention such as flea and tick. If you are fostering little tiny babies, they might need to come in for a weight check, things like that. So email is going to be really important. Transportation to and from the shelter is also important, because our biggest concern with that is not only getting them in if they have a wellness visit with us for any kind of prevention, boosters, things like that, but also ensuring that you're able to get the pet to the shelter when they are scheduled for surgery. If you are renting and you do not own your home, you will need permission from the landlord saying that you can have the pets in there. I don't know 100% if some of these renters that don't allow pets would allow some fostering. That'd be something you'd have to get information from your landlord concerning that. You should have enough room in your home that if you need to isolate the foster pets from your own pets, you're able to. If you have a dog that is not fond of cats, but you really want to foster a litter of kittens, we can make that happen. All you have to do is have a space, whether it's a guest room in your home, a large bathroom, somewhere where you can even just crate them, especially if it's a mama cat and her litter of kittens, as long as they can be isolated away from any other pets if needed. That's not always the case, but sometimes it happens. You need to have rabies vaccines up to date for all your pets in the home. When we send you foster pets, they will have a rabies vaccine on board unless they are too little. We also encourage you guys to make sure that your pets are in good health. You can always discuss with your personal veterinarian if they have any issues in regards to you bringing foster pets home near your pet, or if there's any additional things you can do for your pet to kind of protect them against something that might come in. For example, the Bordetella vaccine is not required by law. However, it's a good thing to have for your dog. So Bordetella is kennel cough. So it protects them if they're going to be in social settings with other dogs. If you're taking your dogs to dog parks, if you're taking them and having them boarded at facilities from time to time, that's probably going to be a vaccine that you want your pets to have. So another common question, how long does an animal spend in foster care? This is an extremely difficult question to answer because there's so many different types of fostering needs. So on average, the time a pet may spend in foster care is approximately 2 to 6 weeks. But again, that is going to vary dramatically depending on what kind of situation you are fostering for. Another question, can fosters adopt their foster pets? Absolutely. The only thing that would really prevent that is if you live in city limits and you are already at your legal limit. I believe in New Braunfels, the limit is 4. So that is going to be 4 cats, 4 dogs, or a combination of both. But yes, you will be able to adopt your foster pet. And most of the time you get first dibs. So if that's something you're interested in doing, we kind of just put a reservation under your name for that pet and when they are at adoption ready. So after their spay and neuter surgery, then we can advise you on how to go through that process. Another frequently asked question, or what are some of the potential risks of fostering an animal? Obviously, when these pets come in, we cannot afford to take every single pet that comes into our facility into the vet for a full wellness panel, blood work, testing. It's just impossible. I mean, just look at last Saturday with 60 animals coming in right there. I mean, that's easily $10,000 worth of vet care if that was what we were able to do. We just cannot do it. There's too many of them. And with that, because most of them are strays that we don't know who the owners are, that also means we have absolutely zero medical history on the pet. Now, sometimes we will get pets in that we do know the owner. Maybe the owner has passed away, but we have or can obtain past veterinary history. So in those cases, yeah, we can give you a better idea of their mental or their medical background. But as far as everyone else, and it is more common to not have that information than it is to have it. We just don't know. So we're really just looking them over upon intake. We're keeping an eye on them for any kind of symptoms that they might be displaying. If they once they get their vaccines, we're looking at any kind of reactions to them, or if the vaccine, say in a puppy, they get a vaccine for parvo, 3 days later they pop up with parvo, well, then we know they came in with parvo. And so the vaccine was just rendered useless because they already had parvo in their system. So we can send you with a relatively healthy animal, but there's just no guarantees. I would say that, anything that is contagious, will probably be symptomatic and we'll be able to see that. But again, sometimes things are incubating and it takes a little bit of time before those symptoms start to show. So it's a risk you take on. So sick animals also, especially this time of year when it's kitten season, there's always the risk of one of the pets passing away in your home. Um, we see this very common with kittens, especially bottle baby kittens. It is tough. Um, so it's definitely something you need to keep in mind when you're taking, especially one of the really small pets or a pet that is having treatment for something. It could be heartworm treatment, where we find out the heartworms are too progressed and we're not going to be able to treat it. It could be um, a number of other issues. So it happens during kitten season with the babies. It happens more than we would like. So that's something to prepare yourself for. Also, we've had times when pets have gone into foster and they are declining very quickly, so we have to bring them in and go ahead and put them down just because they're suffering. There's no quality of life and there's no treatment to get them better. So, something to think about. Now, what happens if a foster parent's owned pet catches a disease or a parasite from the foster? Any type of thing that your pet contracts is going to have to be your responsibility. You'll have to take them to your personal veterinarian. We do not have a veterinarian on staff. So, another thing to think about, and also something to consider, is vaccines go a long way in these pets. If your pets are vaccinated, if they've on constant prevention for flea and tick, heartworms, dewormer, you should be in a pretty good shape. If they have absolutely no vaccines whatsoever, they are not on preventive treatments for anything, you're more likely to have issues with this. And then as far as having fosters, if you are fostering a pet, you are encouraged to choose the adopter. We will send those adoption applications to you, and you will be able to review them and reach out to anybody that you think is a good fit. The reason we encourage this is because you guys have now been in a position where you know the pet more than anybody else. So your decision on who you think the best adopter is going to be the best decision. However, that does not mean that you have to find the adopter. So once your babies or whatever pet you have is either adoption ready, or applications are coming in, we can make that decision. We can reach out to any kind of reservations or applications on the pet, and we can try to match them if that's not something you want to do. So you have options when it comes to fostering. So some different types of fostering that you guys can help with could be bottle babies. You can see them there in the photos. We get a lot of bottle babies, usually starting in about March and definitely going into September, because we are still getting bottle babies this month. It could be puppies or kittens that come in. They're not bottle babies, they are eating solid food. However, they are too little to be spayed or neutered. So that's an option and much easier than bottle babies. Heartworm positive dogs are a common one that we need fosters for. Pets undergoing treatment. If they come in, maybe they had to get a leg amputation, an eye enucleation, something like that, some kind of major surgery. They are going to do better out in foster care than staying in a kennel within the facility. It could be a pet that is just overall struggling with being in a shelter setting. It could just be way too much stress for them. Maybe the stress is causing them to be reactive, but that's not really how their personality is. Things like that. So we can always send some of our really stressed out pets out into foster as well. Pets with behavioral issues, no, that doesn't mean that they're aggressive or anything like that. But if we see they're really starting to lose it in their kennel, think high energy dogs that need to be able to have a yard to run around in, things like that. Those are great pets to send out to foster. And then, of course, our long stay pets. So we have dogs, typically dogs, especially, they come in after about 30 days. We're going to start panicking a little bit if they have no interest. So they haven't received any applications whatsoever. We're going to start to get really worried about how long they're going to be in the facility. So these are also great ones to move out into foster. They can relax a little bit more, have a normal life while they wait to start receiving applications. And as the foster, once you're taking them out in the community, maybe you're going down to the river, going to an outdoor grill or something, you can take them with you. People can see them, and it typically gets them out a lot quicker. So lots of different options for fostering based on whatever you're comfortable with and able to do. So these are some of the time frames, and again, they can vary. So with our puppies and kittens, in order for them to be spayed and neutered, the puppies have to be at least 8 weeks old. Okay, so the reason that varies is we don't know how much they or how old they are when they come in. We are going to base it on their teeth. So we're looking at their baby teeth. What do they have? What do they not have? How far out are they? Things like this. That'll help us determine how old they are. But we can have puppies come in that are 3 weeks old. We can have puppies come in that are 7 weeks old. So that really makes the time scale vary. But if they're old enough to be spayed or neutered at 8 weeks, we know that it shouldn't exceed that unless they get sick at some point during care. And then while they're on treatment, it could extend it. But 8 weeks max, and that's if you're taking bottle baby puppies. Kittens, the males need to be 2.5 pounds. Females need to be 3 pounds. And those are strong weights. We want them healthy. We don't want them looking kind of skinny, things like that. We want them a good, healthy weight for clinic. Same thing with the puppies. It just depends when they come in, how much do they weigh? And that'll kind of help us. Now with the kittens, what we're going to do is weigh them, and that weight gives us a rough average of how old they are. So 3-pound cat is typically about 13 weeks old. And at 3 pounds, 13 weeks old, kittens can also get a rabies shot. So it's a great thing. We can get that into them too while they're down for spay and neuter surgery. So with these guys, I would say could be a week, could be 12 for the kittens, 8 for the puppies. So wide range. We usually have them at all different weights within the shelter. So if you want a shorter length of time, we can absolutely find you some that are a little bit bigger. Heartworm positive dogs, they are going to be in foster for approximately 4 months. The treatment for these guys is typically about 16 weeks long. That is giving you a week or so to allow the dog to get used to your home, make sure everything is comfortable, pets are getting along, they're doing well in your home before their first visit to get their heartworm treatment started. Because once they start that treatment, they have to be out in foster. They cannot come back. Their heart just works so hard when they're going through the treatment to kill off the heartworms, and we cannot add any stress to them. So heartworm dogs are often actually really easy foster case just because they have to be crated during their treatment, calm environment, only taken out for walks, things like that. To go to the bathroom, let me elaborate. No long walks, just simply going out to the bathroom and then back in. So you're looking at about 4 months there, unless The heartworms are more advanced, things like that. Everybody else, it's who knows. It can be days, it can be weeks, it can be months. We've had foster dogs that have spent months out in foster care waiting to be adopted. If you're fine with that, great. If not, we have ones, you guys can always come in and take a dog for a sleepover. You can come in and take a pet for a week, a couple weeks, anything to get these guys out of the facility, give them a break. Um, it goes a long way in keeping their mental health where it needs to be during their stay. So any kind of time frame, we can probably accommodate you for that. We also have some fosters that are just reprieve fosters. So if someone's going out of town for the weekend and they have fosters, no problem. We have fosters that will take them for the weekend. So if that's something you're interested in, is just being available if someone is taking a trip or whatever the case is, we can make that happen as well. So when fostering, you are going to get a lot of support from the shelter. So not only will we provide you with food, treats, bedding, crates to keep them in, toys, enrichment items, any medications if they're having some kind of a treatment. Maybe they have a little bit of an upper respiratory infection, or maybe they have ringworm. Whatever the case is, we're going to provide everything for you. We have our Facebook page, our X page, Instagram. You can email us, you can call us. We have a foster handbook available for you guys on our website. Anything you guys need, you can reach out. We will get back to you, provide you with all the resources we can think of to help you. I know that Jenna has a really nice cat foster book, handbook, an actual material book that she will hand out to you whenever you're taking cats home, and it is full of pretty much everything you could possibly need to know about fostering cats. So it's a really nice booklet. So we'll do everything we can to help you and make you successful in getting this pet from the time it's in our care through to adoption. Now, going into some of the benefits of fostering for the pets, it's going to save lives. Not only is it getting them out away from the shelter, but it's now freeing up space for more pets to come in. If we have room for more pets, that's less pets that have to be euthanized, because you hit a point where there's just no place else to put them. So it really helps the ones that are in the shelter that maybe aren't getting any interest. It gets them out of there and it saves their life, and it gives them a chance and time to get adopted. It reduces their stress, improves their health. They're no longer being surrounded by so many types of germs. It improves their socialization, keeps them well bonded to humans, builds confidence. It teaches them house manners. All of these things go towards increasing their adoptability, because now they're in a home where they can learn how to, be potty trained, or basic commands like sit or lay down, or crate training. All of these things look very, very good to people who are looking to adopt. It also provides care to them that maybe a shelter can't, like heartworm treatment. We can't care for pets with heartworms. We can't treat them in the facility. And of course, all of this goes towards reducing the euthanasia rates, because now we don't have to worry about what do we do with a dog that hasn't been adopted yet, hasn't had any interest, and it's been 6 months, So it greatly gives them another chance. Some of the benefits for the foster, it's going to give you purpose and fulfillment from helping a pet in need, reduce your loneliness or isolation, especially if you're living on your own, no other household members. If you don't have pets but you love pets, you just feel like you don't have the time or the financial means to take care of them, this is a great option for you. It's temporary and it's affordable, because we are providing everything you need. We are supporting you. It is going to help you learn and grow. You're going to learn so much about animals and different behaviors. And it's also a great trial run for adoption. So if you're looking to adopt, but you're not sure or you're not 100% committed, maybe you don't know what type of personality is going to be a best fit for you, fostering is a great way to test these things out and see what works and what doesn't work in your own household. For the shelter, some of the benefits we receive is obviously we're reducing overcrowding, we're increasing capacity to help all the other pets that are still coming in. It greatly reduces stress on staff. It is hard right now. Morale is extremely low, and you're going to see that when you go in there, unfortunately. Nobody's trying to be down, but it just happens when it gets like this. It is hard. So that's a big one for us. It increases our adoption rates, which is amazing, and that's what we want ultimately. It helps us engage with the community, maximize our resources, and it reduces housing expenses. So when they're in your care, we can bring in more. It allows us to help more pets, and it reduces our expenses, even though we're helping more. So you've decided to foster, and I will say a lot of our volunteers do already foster. So with volunteer hour credit, pets that are over 13 weeks of age are going to get, oh, I'm sorry, pets under 13 weeks of age, I read the wrong line there. Under 13 weeks of age get 12 hours per week per pet. Pets over 13 weeks of age, 6 hours per week. Now, this is by request only. I don't do foster credit for all volunteers or all fosters. One, we do have a lot of fosters that don't volunteer as well. They prefer, they enjoy helping through fostering. That is their specialty, and that's fine. Volunteers, not everybody wants the credit. Most of the people that do want the credit are going to be ones that maybe, life is busy. They can't make it into the shelter every 90 days minimum of at least one time, or, if they've got kids in school, or if their jobs have incentives where the more hours, the better. These are great options for you to get a lot of hours without having to come into the shelter if it's too inconvenient for you. So the way I award volunteer hour credit, some folks, they are the solo foster, they live in a house by themselves. Obviously, they get all the volunteer credit. As far as families, things like that, I award the volunteer hour credit to the household. Okay, so if it's a boyfriend and a girlfriend, I can either award it to the boyfriend, the girlfriend, or split it up between them. If it's a mom, dad, kids, same thing. I can give it all to your high school kid that needs it for Green Court or whatever other school organization, or I can divide it in between both your kids, or I can divide it in between every single household member. But the important thing is that total as a whole will be awarded to the household, not each individual member. Okay, so if you have a 12-week-old kitten for 1 week, that 12 hours, that's 12 hours. No matter how you want to divide it, it's going to be a total of 12 hours. It's not going to be 12 hours for each of the 7 members in the household. Okay, so household as a group, I can divide it any way you want. You just have to let me know either when the pet is adopted out of your home or when you've returned the pet, because it's going through spay and neuter and then staying at the shelter to get adopted. Whatever the case is, once you have completed that foster time and the pet is no longer in your care, at that point I can pull up dates. I have all that information in my system. I can pull those dates, I know its age and everything, and I can calculate those and log those into your file. So we can make that happen for you guys. If you're interested in becoming a foster with us, if you go to our website, hsmba.org. You can click on Get Involved and go down to Foster. You will see this image here, Foster application. Just click on that green button at the bottom there, and it'll take you to the application. It's just going to have some questions regarding, obviously, your contact information. It's going to have questions about other pets that you have in the home, other members of your family or household members. Super quick, once we receive that, that will be reviewed by either Jenna or EJ for cats. It could be reviewed by Sam, who's our live outcome coordinator. There's going to be a few different people, depending on if it's dog, cat, whatever, that are going to review those, and then they can reach out to you and let you know if everything's good to go, and if so, come get an animal. If you come into the shelter and you're inquiring about it, you can fill out that application right then and there, and they'll look at it right there, and we can send you home with pets very quickly. We're very motivated, so we've made it very easy for you guys to foster if you are willing and able to open your home to a pet, or multiple pets, I should say. So if you guys have any questions, doesn't matter if it's now, if it's later today, if it's 6 months from now, you can always reach out to me. My information is right here, but you guys should already have that. Anything you guys need, any questions, you let me know. If you're interested in fostering, or if you're interested in seeing who's available for fostering, reach out. I believe we have a couple of websites. I don't know, let me look real quick. I'm not sure if our website has the ones listed. I don't believe it does. I don't think it shows who's available on the website, but I do know that we have some Trello accounts with that information, and I can get you the links to those if you are interested in fostering or seeing who's available. So thank you guys so much for coming on today. I appreciate it as always. Once I finish up here, I will get it posted onto our YouTube playlist so you can have it in the future if you ever need it. Thank you guys so much, and have a good rest of your day.